We're recording right now, bud?
Yes, we are.
We about to do our damn thing?
We's about to.
Okay.
That's what he said his dog's there.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
How's the lighting on my end?
Looks pretty good. Does it look good, Randy? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you should be okay.
I've got one more light I could put on, but I think this will work.
Yeah, man, no, I think you're pretty crystal clear. You want to check the camera real quick? What do you think? We'll check the camera real quick.
Yeah, just blow it up.
Yeah, 1 sec there. I'll take him here.
Oh boy.
That's okay.
She just like hears random noises and just start.
She's like, who is that? Nobody's here.
We're just fighting.
Well, I'm outside.
I was just fighting off the same thing here with mine. So
Yeah,
no
we got
worries.
2 dogs here, too. That's all good.
I've only had her like 3 months, so she's just getting accustomed to everything.
Is she a puppy?
No, she's like 2 years old, but she's a pit bull and
Oh, no
she
shit.
hears things outside, so.
She's like got the guardian instinct in her?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So we'll probably take it pretty much from the top. Usually we do a quick rundown on yourself. For anybody who might not, I mean, anybody who's into powerlifting probably already knows who you are, but you're known as a huge monster deadlifter. So maybe a couple of your biggest lifts, official, in the gym, some competitions. Just like a quick resume, if you were to give.
Okay, so my best total in a meet is 2072, and over the last year I've basically put over 200 pounds on my total.
Yeah.
My best meet lifts are a 760-pound squat in knee sleeves, a 446-pound bench, and an 871-pound deadlift. And in the gym, I've done a 920-pound deadlift with straps.
Yeah.
And I benched 475 paused in the gym. So those are my basic numbers. I've been training for about 10 and a half years. And just what I love to do. I've been competing for probably about 7 of those.
And how did you get into powerlifting? Were you in other sports previously?
Yeah, in high school I pretty much played all the sports there were to play. I tried everything out. I just wanted to see what I took to and what I found. It's just what I found most passionate.
Yeah.
Most passionate for. So I played basketball. I played football. I ran track. I tried MMA for a little while.
Oh no shit! I didn't know that,
yeah.
dude. I'm a huge MMA fan. No
yeah, I pretty
shit.
much watch all the cards every weekend. So
Yeah.
I like watching it, but honestly, the biggest thing with that was my training was getting affected. As far as I lost about 15 pounds, got down to like 215 pounds.
Yeah.
And just a lot of cardio. It's tough to maintain my strength. So
Yeah.
it was kind of one or the other. And I never felt like I was going to be great at MMA, and I didn't have the passion for training it as much as powerlifting. So I just went with powerlifting. But it was fun for a while. It really improved my mobility. And as far as like how I got into powerlifting, I want to say about 3 or 4 years into my training career, there's just a local USAPL meet, and I signed up for it. Had no idea what I was doing. I actually got to the meet and didn't even have a singlet, and they were like, "Need a singlet." I'm like freaking out because USAPL has like a 2-hour weigh-in, and then you're throwing it fire, So I'm getting there, and I'm like, I don't even have a singlet. What am I supposed to do? So I had to borrow one and all this sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't know any of the commands. Like, I'm asking people, what am I supposed to do? I literally, like, bombed out on squats because I missed rack commands.
No shit! Wow! That's a trial by fire, man. Wow!
But I was, like, 17, so they're like, all right, you can keep going or whatever.
Yeah.
Pulled, like, 501 pounds on deadlift, which was like the second highest at the meet because it was like a teenage meet.
Yeah.
But I didn't have a good experience. I was like, I'm done with this. This sucks.
Fuck that noise. I'd rather be in the cage fighting, man.
I don't know. So I gave it another shot, tried some more competitions, and I kind of started to settle in within the last, I'd say, like, year or so, honestly. It took a while.
Yeah.
There were a lot of bad meets and bad strategies and all these sorts of things before I finally, like, started putting it all together last November. So it really took a long time before I felt comfortable with it, but now I feel like I have a pretty good game plan going into every meet, and I'm making steady progress.
Did you have any early mentors when you first started?
So you're just going totally on your own, it sounds like, or?
Well, I had a guy, he actually opened the gym in Madison, Wisconsin, Madtown Fitness. He's got 2 gyms now, and he was going to the University of Wisconsin at the time, and we kind of hooked up. Like, he saw my YouTube videos, and he was like pretty crazy himself, so he was all about that. He's like, "You're crazy, I want to train with you."
Yeah.
And so we would drive over and we'd like deadlift in my basement. And this guy doesn't even know me. He thinks I'm like insane. Because literally, I'm down there pacing. I'm not speaking to him literally. I'm just in the zone. Like, I'm like yelling at the weights and stuff.
Oh, shit. And he's in your basement when this is happening?
This guy's never met me really. This is the first time. He's like,
oh no. Wow. That's intimidating shit. Yeah.
But he kind of helped me out. He had done powerlifting, and he was a really good bencher. He could bench high 4s, paused.
Yeah.
So he helped me out, and from there it kind of grew. Like, I worked with the Lily Bridges a little bit as far as, like, I didn't train with them, but when we get to the meet, they help me out like crazy. Like, they're always like that. If you're at a meet, Ernie Sr. in particular, he's helping everybody. He's like, "What do you need?" So that really, like, benefited me, but for the most part, it's kind of been on my own.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how powerlifting's like that. How, I mean, most people when they first get into powerlifting, they think it's going to be, because it's so much testosterone, right? They think it's going to be like me against them type attitude, but it doesn't matter. Like, coaches will help out somebody who's there without a coach, and it's a lot of camaraderie involved, eh?
Yeah, usually, I mean, I'll go to a meet, and I don't have, like, a handle or anything. My girlfriend will come, but usually I'm pretty much on my own, and like even at Boss of Bosses and Reebok Record Breakers, these last 2 meets, Jesse Burdick just like came out there and helped me out and got me ready, talked to me and stuff. So every little bit helps. And if you don't even have anybody at a meet, you'll probably find someone at the meet who's going to help you out. So it's kind of nice as far as that.
So when you got involved and first started, in terms of programming, were you kind of just off the cuff, throwing together yourself, or?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I kind of like maxed every week, basically. So we've all been through that phase. I feel like
hell yeah.
You know, drive myself into the ground and just try to max out on everything. So I did that for a while, and like no real thought to programming, kind of whatever I felt like. Be in the gym 5-6 days a week. And later on, I like worked with Josh Bryant for a while, and Paul Carter, just various people. Brian Miner, he's a natural lifter. Yeah. He was the last person to coach me about 2 years ago, and ever since then, I've been doing my own thing, and I feel very confident in it. I've actually got my training down now to 2 days a week, which just blows people's minds. Yeah.
Whoa, dude, 2 days a week. Anyone who's watching this is like, what? But how big are those days? Like 12-hour days? Is that the case?
That's the best. Like, each day is probably about 4 hours, but a lot of it actually is like talking with people in the gym and stuff. Like, I take my best breaks.
I thought you were about to say a lot of it's like talking to the weights and shit and pacing.
No, I'm a lot more calm now, but yeah, like I basically have 1 lower body day a week, and then 1 upper body / grip day. So I need to have more recovery now with the numbers I'm hitting. Yeah. And I've always said, like, I'll do seminars, and I always tell the guys, I'm like, the 2 keys to long-term progress are basically consistency and injury prevention. Mm-hmm. And if you can do those 2 things, if you can be consistent about your training and avoid major injuries, you're going to get better. And that's really the key. Like, there could be people way better than you now, but you'll knock them off later on if you just keep going. So that's why this approach works for me. Mm-hmm. You need to find something that, like, is sustainable. Mm-hmm. A lot of people will have a plan that isn't sustainable. They'll be training 5 days a week or whatever, and they can only do it for maybe a couple months before it doesn't work anymore. So this is like something that I found to be sustainable, and it's been working for me, and I feel pretty good. My body's doing well. I don't take ibuprofen and stuff, so I know how I'm feeling. So it just works, and that's what everybody has to kind of find.
What do you find? So do you base it off of like a 1 rep max? Is more of like an RPE style where it's on your effort you feel like on that day, or how do you kind of base when you're picking your numbers? Because you pull heavy, you go heavy, looks like fairly often anyways.
Yeah, a lot of it is pretty basic, like linear progression over the course of 10 weeks or so. Like I'll start low and just build up my volume, and then I'll start tapering the volume down as the meet comes closer and increasing the weights. I do believe in auto-regulation as far as like RPE. I'm big into that. I do that with my clients. I feel that's superior to percentages because you could feel different on any given day. But I think one of the keys is you can almost have a linear approach so long as you're willing to postpone certain days. I think too often a lot of guys get stuck in their head that they have to train on these specific days. But what I always tell people is feel free to push the week back and delay your training if you don't feel good that day. Then you're going to perform optimally. So that's how that can work. You just need enough recovery time if you're using a linear approach.
And I mean, we talk about that a lot, me and Randy, and talking to other guests too. Like, oftentimes you walk in there and people want to force certain numbers they have in their head, and they think because it's on the program, like, I got to make this happen today. And it's like, man, if this is not the day, don't chase bad money because it's written down on a piece of paper or whatever. You get this romanticized view attached to these numbers. Push it off, work something else that day, and then attack those numbers on a better day. Or if your body's fatiguing, for sure. So
that's 100%.
Yeah. So you have 4-hour days. So would you do it? Do you hit like your heavy singles and then back off and do your volume, or do you? How does you approach? Cause like I'm trying to wrap my head around a 4-hour day without. What does it look like one of these days?
Well, as far as like deadlifts, it's not. I don't really like singles a whole lot. I'll do them sometimes as far as like high bar plus squats.
Yeah.
But as an example, it'd be like 4 doubles on deadlift at, let's say, 725 pounds. This could be week 1 of a 10-week training cycle leading up to a meet. And then the 5th set would just be like an AMRAP, max rep set, as many as I can get with decent form. So that's kind of your base lift. And then after that, we would probably go to the 45-degree barbell back raises, which I've hyped up a lot. It's by far the best deadlift assistance movement, in my opinion, from my experience.
What is this? What is this again? Sorry, so explain this one to me.
It's if you've seen the 45-degree back raise station, it's just a typical thing you see in any gym, and a lot of people do it with their body weight or they'll hold a 45-pound plate.
Yeah.
Well, we take this up a level, we put a barbell on the floor, and we deadlift the barbell up and do them like that.
Ah, shit. Okay. And you think this is by far the biggest for your deadlift?
Yes, by far. Like, if you actually mention it to Kevin Oak or somebody like that now, Kevin started doing these and he swears by them.
Really?
And, yeah, so like there's other people who vouch for this. Clients, I've got tons of clients who do them. Just kills the hamstrings, really strengthens them, increases speed off the floor, increases lockout power, just all around. So I pretty much do those every week. I never take them out. And that's like my main assistance movement.
Do you have this on your Instagram?
Yeah, I haven't put up a video on Instagram of it in a while, but there's plenty of them back maybe like 3 months ago.
Okay.
So it's not too hard to find.
Yeah, maybe we'll post that. No shit. Wow, okay. So what would you work with this? Like, are rep ranges, like, is it more volume based? Probably.
Yeah, I think like 10 reps is almost the sweet spot with those, but I'll do sets of 5 as well. And one time I maxed on it and I did 500 just for kicks.
Yeah. What do you get a couple people to hold it down so it doesn't tip over when you do that?
Yeah, shit, man, that's a lot of weight.
It won't tip over, I swear. Like, you just got to be confident. It's not going to tip over.
Okay.
Like, you got nothing to worry about. Something, I don't understand physics, like, real well, but the physics of it, it's not going to tip, so. But yeah, I do that.
And this targets the lower back and the hammies and the glutes?
Yes, but I would say the hamstrings the most.
Yeah.
Which is, I'd say hamstrings is the biggest weakness in most people.
Yeah, because they lift too much with their lower backs, right? For the deadlift?
Yeah, I think people in general don't train their hamstrings enough, and then they train their quads a lot more than the hamstrings. So it develops this imbalance where it's very apparent. Whether someone's hips are rising up too quickly on deadlifts or their knees are caving in on squats, a lot of that can be attributed to weaker hamstrings. So I'll do that, and then I basically do, like, recently I've been doing a lot of direct quad work, 20 rep sets, nothing too heavy, to try to bring my quads up, because I neglected that for a while, so I'm trying to really target that to get my squat even higher. But that alone, that'll take 2 hours. I mean, we're talking 4 sets of 20 hack squats, 20 leg extension, and it's not real heavy, but it's just a lot of volume.
Yeah.
Do you train with anybody? Like, do you have a partner or anyone?
Basically train by myself. Like, I'll have people in the gym who will help me out or whatever, but I don't have like a training partner, and I haven't in years. I just kind of like to do my own thing. And
is it easier? Because that's tough. Sometimes the hard part, I mean, if you got headphones and music, you're good. But sometimes having someone else there to push you helps, but I guess you're just like a self-motivator.
Well, I would say the gym I'm at, in all honesty, this is the best gym I've ever trained at. I've been here a little over a year, and my total has taken off just because the environment. Like, they play good music. I can plug my phone in, play whatever I want. The powerlifting area is separate from the other part of the gym. Like, that environment, I don't need people motivating me, because it's like, it's not your everyday gym as far as that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
so that's why I tell people, find a good gym.
Yeah. Oh, that's huge. If you, at least, if you don't got a team, a good gym and environment, because you're going to be there 5 days a week or maybe 2 days a week, but killing it those 2 days anyways. So what motivates you when you do go into the gym, though? Do you have people that kind of neck and neck? Because your division is stacked with some with giants, some titans in there. Is there somebody that pushes you when you think about motivation?
Not really as far as that, because, like, you know, Larry Williams, he's the top right now. He's got me by like 100 pounds. And hopefully, if things go as expected at this meet in 3.5 weeks, I'll be second all time behind him. So that's really the goal right now. But, like, he's so far ahead right now, and he's such a freak that I can't really worry about people like that too much.
Pizza! The beer's here.
I don't know what they might.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead. We can edit it. Do you got to answer that?
I don't know. It's probably just a package, but I'm just
It's like, this is
Lucy. Oh, the dog freaks the heck out.
It's all good.
She's freaking out. Hold up. I think it was just a package, so they knocked to let you know. But, like,
yeah.
Tune timing. I'm trying to get the dog to calm down.
This is a great time for you to plug your sponsors. Well, there's my supplements right there. There's my new animal t-shirt.
That's really it.
What's that?
I just got Animal. Really, like, I don't want to get a million sponsors. I pretty much keep it simple. But good Lord, what are we talking about? All right, no. But as far as, like, people pushing me as far as what I do in the gym. I pretty much just try to improve every meet as far as my total, and that's why I try to do meets every 3 months or so I have something to motivate me. Yeah. Because I tell people compete, because then you're going to have a goal in mind, you're going to have a reason to go to the gym. If you don't have a meet coming up, you're not going to push yourself. So really, I just let the meet motivate me, and I try to get my my total up every meet. But I don't, like, focus on certain people.
Was there anybody you looked up to when you were starting off? Like, anybody you were chasing or anybody you kind of, wanted to be?
Yeah, actually, like, this is kind of cool. This comes to mind, Konstantinov's Crazy Russian. I've watched his videos, and I was like, this guy blows my mind.
What has he been up to?
He's had some back issues, so his deadlift right now is like 400 kilos, 881, or 882, I guess. But he's not pulling 940 like he did before, but he's still competing. He's just not quite as active. Yeah. And actually, I think it was right after the last meet, he was like private messaging me on Instagram.
Oh shit!
Like, I was like, holy cow. Yeah. He's like, big fan, all this stuff, and I want you to break all the records and all this, and he just like he's watching. So that was really cool.
How's that for motivator? You know, I was just about to say, so you know how you were just talking about him, about how, like, you're watching his YouTube, and I remember watching his YouTube too. Right now, you're a huge name on social media. And how does it feel now to have people approach you and to be like, what, you watch my videos? Because, I mean, I know we're up here in Canada, outside of Toronto, and all, like, just random people at the gym will be talking about, did you see the Pete's latest pull in the gym and shit like that? Like, honestly, man. And we're like another nation away. Is it kind of weird having people talk about you like that?
Yeah, it never really sinks in 100% because you don't, like, go about your day thinking about that.
Yeah.
People recognize me and stuff, and they'll talk to me, but I'm pretty much, for the most part, living an everyday life like everybody else. Like, I gotta make an income and pay the bills and stuff and go get groceries, so
yeah.
I'm, like, thinking about that often. The times when it hits you the hardest is if you're at, like, the Arnold Classic or something.
Yeah.
And the Arnold Sports Festival, and there's a million people around. That's when you kind of like, whoa, but for the most part, I don't really think about it too much. It's just...
Yeah.
I'm pretty much doing the same stuff everybody else is. I'm just lifting more because I've been doing it for almost 11 years.
That's right.
So I tell people, I'm like, I put a lot of time, man, really.
Stick with it. What are your goals, your next goals that you want to hit? The big numbers you plan on hitting in 2017?
It's hard to say. Like, right now, my approach is only on the meet in 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. And I have numbers in mind for that. Like, I want to... Essentially, if I get a 10-pound PR on each lift, then that would be a 771-pound squat, 451 on bench, and then I want 887 on deadlift.
Yeah.
That would put my total at like 2111, which is second all time. So I'd be happy with that. That'd be about a 38-pound PR total. But I just take it one at a time. Like, I don't have end-of-the-year goals. I'm just like, this is what I want to do at the next meet and what's realistic. And we'll go from there. Mm-hmm. So I just, like, really break down the goals. Instead of, like, long term, it's like, let's just focus on the next 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And then next 12 weeks. And that seemed to work the best.
Do you do any partials in your programming, like board presses or anything like that?
No, nothing really complicated. I just pretty much stick to some basic movements. Like, I don't do any of that. Don't use bands or chains. It's just really, like, straightforward as far as I found, like, dumbbell bench works great for me. That's something I always do. The back raises, squats, deadlifts, paused bench. Like, and obviously I do the assistant stuff like hack squats, leg extension, all that. But for the most part, the exercises don't change. Like, I find what works for me, and I drill them for a year.
Is that because, like, if you do a block pull with the deadlift, you find, like, it just doesn't feel the same when you pull it from, like...
It's not quite the same. It's just, I feel like sticking to normal deads. And even, like, I've experimented with pulling on a squat bar, but I found that when you go back to the deadlift bar, it really kind of throws you off. It's a completely different feel. So in some cases, someone could train on a really stiff bar for a while and then be worse on a deadlift bar.
Do you find if you use wraps in training and then in competition you don't have them, does that throw you off a little? Or because your grip doesn't fail you, so...
Yeah, my grip is the strongest when I'm using straps on all my deadlifts in training, and then training grip on the side. There's been, like, meet preps where I haven't used straps and I've just done all my deadlifts without them, but I didn't train grip, and my grip was weaker. So this is kind of what I find works the best, and the beauty of it is that my hands don't get destroyed and I don't get, like, calluses tearing all the time.
And is it the fact that you're overloading, so your nervous system's used to handling heavy-ass weights? So when you take the wraps off, lower the weight a little bit, it flies up a little easier, or?
Yeah, I'd say that's a big part of it, and then just overloading as far as the volume I can handle. Like, I wouldn't be able to do that many sets and reps without straps because my hands would get so beat up.
Yeah.
So that's part of it as well. I've had, like, calluses tearing the meets. Like, my last meet, I made a 10-pound jump, and on the third attempt, my callus tore open, bleeding everywhere.
Yeah.
But for the most part, my grip's gotten way stronger from using this approach.
What is some of the worst injuries you've had?
I've been pretty fortunate as far as, like, nothing where I've had to have surgery. You know, knock on wood, like, that's what I try to avoid because the little strains and stuff, those are going to happen. They happen to everybody. I just try to, like, this is what we talked about with don't train if you feel like crap that day, push it back. Because that's when the injuries happen. It's when you're feeling tired and fatigued and sore, and you try to train anyway because that's what you're supposed to do. That's when you'll get injured. So I've been fortunate to avoid most of those, but the worst injury I had was like a partial right hip labrum tear, and that kept me from squatting for like 2 years. So,
oh shit!
People forget about that, but that was not that long ago.
Is that when you really started hit? Could you still deadlift?
Yeah, I could. That's about all I could do, though. I couldn't do any sort of hip flexion, like leg press. I couldn't do.
Shit. So
that's about it.
So you just basically then, I guess, because it's deadlift, because you keep your hips a lot higher, so you could get away with it. Then. Wow, man.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why you ended up perfecting your deadlift so good. Hey, blessing in disguise. Hey.
No.
Like, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do today? I'm a fucking deadlift. That's all I can do.
Because deadlift is more like hip extension, whereas squat is more hip flexion. So hip extension was okay. Like split squats, I could do those as well. But any sort of hip flexion, leg press, squat, couldn't do it. And I mean, I would like to. I should have like focused on form more, but I was still pulling with horrible form. So I didn't really get anywhere for those 2 years. I was kind of spinning my wheels. Unfortunately.
And what did you do to improve your form? Did you go to see other people, just dissect your own videos and see what's up, or?
Yeah, I just got really like pissed off on me because I pulled I couldn't pull what I wanted to pull, and I was like, I gotta change this. Like it's not working, you know. In training, I was kind of like plateaued at 800 for so long. I just got fed up with it, and I went back to the drawing board, dropped the weight, and completely changed my form and decided like I needed to do this. So that's kind of what got me over the hump.
Yeah. What do you think would be, if you had to think back, what's your biggest, most accomplishment you're most proud of so far? And you're a young dude, so you got a lot left in you. But if you're looking back right now and it all stops, what's the biggest?
I would honestly say just my total. Like I am one of these people now, I think like the numbers you hit in meets, that's what matters. Your total is what matters. I don't really care what I hit in training. Those are just kind of, they tell me where I'm going to be in the meet. They're indicators, but it's not important. Like those don't matter. So the 2072 total is what I'm most proud of right now. And hopefully I'll further that in a few weeks here. But the thing I'm kind of always like, in the back of my mind, I know I've seen so many guys come and go over the years that you just don't know when that time's going to come. You don't know when some traumatic injury is going to happen, or it's just going to be the end of your time as far as like lifting heavy. So I kind of try not to take that for granted, and that's part of the reason I'm not training all the time. You just don't know. So
and that's
hopefully I can keep it going for another 10, 15 years, but we don't know. You know, I'm 25. I'd love to do this when I'm 40 and still be progressing. But as far as people, once they get to the top, they often don't stay at the top very long. Like you'll see that a guy will hit a really big total, and then he'll either get injured or kind of mentally burn out, and someone else comes and takes his place. So I don't want to do that. I want to be the guy who's at the top, and I'm still there for the next, 10, 15 years, but a lot of things can happen. You don't know what's going to happen. So,
what would you say the biggest event of 2016 was?
As far as like the biggest accomplishment in powerlifting, or
sport period.
The sport period.
What was the event that made you go, oh damn? Because we're looking back, we kind of have a year-end awards we're gonna do, and just what would be your opinion if you're looking back and be like, that was it, that got me fired up?
Well, for me, just because it's more relevant to me, Larry Williams, like 2172 total world record total at Record Breakers. That is insane. He obliterated.
He's 21, right? He's young as shit. No?
He just turned 22 like 3 weeks ago.
That's crazy, man.
What we've talked about as far as that, I think I've talked to people, and this was talked about on Reddit. I think one of the things with him is like, I listened to the podcast of him with Mark Bell, and he didn't play any sports in school. He didn't try any out. So what we kind of think is this was someone who would be incredible no matter what he did, but he ended up doing powerlifting. So we're seeing like an NFL caliber genetic athlete doing powerlifting. And this is what's happening. So it's crazy to see, but he broke that world record by like 80 pounds. It's just insane. And he's so explosive. He just keeps getting better as his coaching, his coaches bring it all together.
Yeah.
Geez, who knows what he's going to end up with if he just keeps going with this. So that, to me, was kind of the most impressive thing. And the second thing that comes to mind is obviously, like, Ray's 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. Everybody mentions that. That's that one barrier. It's crazy, though, because as soon as Ray, for the longest time, that was that 1,000-pound barrier. But as soon as he does it, then Jezza just recently hit it. And it's going to be like the 4-minute mile. Back in the day, it was the 4-minute mile. Can you run a mile in 4 minutes? One dude breaks it, and within a year, 6 other guys start doing it. And it'll soon enough be, you're not top 5 in the world unless you're squatting, if you're super heavyweight.
Yeah, 100%.
That's just squatting, you know what I mean?
Something actually I completely forgot. Actually, I got it. I got something that beats all that.
Okay.
Not really in powerlifting, but Eddie Hall's 500 kilo deadlift.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Hell yeah, babe. We were all over that too. That's huge. Yeah.
That, I pulled 920, and I can't even tell you guys, 1,100 is just...
The feeling in your hands would be nuts. And didn't he... Was it that meet or the next one? Because he pulled over 1,000 pounds in the same competition, right?
Yeah, they pyramided up. It was like 1,026 first, and then he just went to... I think he just went to 1,100.
Well, that was the one he went against Shaw. So
yeah, him and Shaw were toe-to-toe.
Shaw had the big jumps.
This one Shaw wasn't at.
That was the first one you mean. Yeah,
it was the first one. But, I mean, that to me is even more impressive than the 1,000-pound squat. Like, holy cow, like, that's insane.
Yeah. We're deadlift guys.
I don't know what price that came, but...
What's that, sorry?
I don't know at what price that came, because Eddie's been pretty open as far as, like, Eddie's like, I don't care what I'm necessarily doing to my body right now, because this is what I want to do, so I'm going to hit it hard.
Yeah.
Like, if I watch this documentary, like, he talks like that.
It's amazing.
Whatever he wants, and he's kind of like, I'm just going to do whatever the hell it takes to get the world's strongest man title and deadlift title, so it comes at a price, but, like, either way, that's jeez.
It's crazy because when you watch that documentary, those guys, those strongmen, they'll compete and then 2 weeks later do that shit again. And their days are long, man. Like, they're loading their spine and carrying with it, and the type of weight they're moving, it's nuts what, like, the type of schedules those guys got. Like, you're talking about guys who, powerlifting, at least were linear movements. So you could see, all right, if we stay in our linear movements, maybe we will last the 40 range. But these cats, man, they're blowing muscles left, right, and center, heart attacks and shit, the whole nine.
Yeah. I've kind of, like, tried it out, on 1 or 2 occasions, and I'm like, how the hell do you not just tear everything?
I know.
Like, my biceps were, like, a little strained after doing some of that stuff, and I'm just like, this is crazy. Like, that's why they're always getting all these injuries, and...
Yeah.
The shelf life isn't long for that either, but it's crazy. And they've said, like, if Eddie Hall did a full meet, he'd destroy every record in the book, which I believe he would. Like, from what I've seen of him, he would come into powerlifting, first meet, obliterate the highest total. And
then deuce, peace out. Here's the thing, what's keeping him probably out, because he was asked this question, and he said there's a lack of money. Right? Like, strongman, I make money, powerlifting, there isn't. But this U.S. Open... is freaking 40K, so I'm wondering, would dudes like that, why wouldn't an Eddie Hall show up and take 40K?
He should. I honestly, that didn't occur to me, but he would win that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not being he would win it.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck yeah. Dude, I'd be like, oh shit, Eddie Hall's here? Wow.
That's something, I don't know if he knows about it or what.
Well, maybe we should keep it down.
I mean, jeez. I'm serious. I'm thinking about this. He would win that for sure. So,
it's 40,000 for best lifter, and then for world record you get more money, and then so he could walk away with like, I mean, if he could just show up like worth a plane ticket in a weekend, walk away with 50K US. You got like, I'm surprised guys like Brian Shaw, who's even in the US, isn't like, hold up, what's this going on right now? You know what I mean?
Maybe people don't know about it enough, but that's a good point because like. I know there's no money really, or very, very little in powerlifting, but that's kind of like, that'll get people to look.
We're getting there. We're getting there with this.
Yeah, hopefully, like, keeps progressing like that.
Yeah, I think
That's what people don't realize. Like, as far as sponsorships and YouTube and all this, that's not an income. I mean, that's like a little bonus.
Yeah, that's it, man.
I try to tell guys, YouTube, I've got 56,000 subscribers.
That's good.
$900 a year, guys. $900.
Oh shit! Okay. Yeah, exactly. You don't do it for you don't do it for money. You do it for the love of the game. Yeah.
So, and YouTube actually, I've said this too. It's going down every year. 1,000 subscribers. I made like 2,700. The next year 1,800. This year 900.
Oh,
so they're not paying anything anymore.
Yeah. I guess the best thing that YouTube might be able to do is if you're doing coaching. It might drive people in, shit like that. But you have to be a businessman and an entrepreneur. You know.
Well, that's the thing. I've been doing that for about coming up on 3 years now, and every year I refine it even more. And the thing about it, I've seen a lot of people come in, try to make a quick buck, and they do. But that's only sustainable for 2 years or so.
Yeah.
Maybe not even that. Your reputation's going to get out, and people are going to say, forget this guy.
Yeah.
So it's like, first thing is my business model. I try to like look at each client on an individual basis. You know, I send it out 1 week at a time, email communication. It's like I really try to put the client's needs first before I think about the money, and then the money comes. But it's like you can't have that backwards. It's not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, well said.
So if somebody wants to get a hold of you for coaching, how do they get a hold of you?
Just email me, prstrength1@gmail.com. So I do a really good job. I honestly haven't advertised because I've been so fortunate as far as word of mouth. But I probably will start advertising a bit more. I want to get a little more serious with it. And I do seminars too. That's another thing. So these are just ways that basically I make a living, but I feel very good about what I'm doing. I'm not ripping off.
Are you a full-time powerlifting coach then?
Yeah, honestly, that's as far as that seminars, that's how I make a living. And I know I'm doing a good job. I know I'm giving 100% to each client. I know I'm not stealing people's money. Yeah. So this is something that will be sustainable for me for a decade or more because I'm literally putting my heart into this. I'm not bullshitting people like I've seen done. And that's why I'm able to do it. It's not just like, let me sign up everyone and then just because you hear about that, but that's never going to be sustainable.
They're custom templates, right? It's not just, here you go, it's something I made and I sent it to 150 people and And
my thing with, if you send out 12 weeks at a time or whatever, 3 months, what happens if the client gets injured? What happens if there's certain exercises they can't do or for whatever reason? You need to be able to like change all this stuff up. So that's like 1 week at a time. We see how that week went and then we go from there. And that's like the best approach.
Will you do video analysis on lifts and stuff like that as well for them to see if the levers are moving?
Absolutely. Like video analysis is a tool I use with everybody. Some guys don't like to send video, but 75% do. And we can really see what's going on there. Like if the hips shoot up on deadlift, that's a key indicator of weak hamstrings. So it's little things like that. But it's just it's something that you have to like genuinely be putting effort in, or you're not going to last long.
Have you noticed that some of your clients aren't even just powerlifters now, but other like athletes that want to get stronger for other sports, football, whatever the hell it is, rugby, wrestling, or is it mostly powerlifters?
I've had a couple like that, but I will honestly say the majority of my clients are either competitive powerlifters or just simply people looking to get stronger. And as far as what I tell people now, this is what we went over with having a goal in mind, why I compete so often. I push everyone in the direction of competing, even if they haven't or they don't feel they're ready, because that's going to make them much better in a much shorter period of time. Because it's an end goal. If you don't have an end goal, or if you just have some arbitrary numbers you want to hit, you're not going to like push yourself as hard. You're not going to stay as focused. So I just try to say, like, you're better off competing right off the bat. Get your feet wet, and you'll evolve as a lifter. I've seen it happen with myself. I've seen it happen with a lot of people.
When you got that end date looming and approaching, you're not going to lay back. You're going to start pushing harder and harder. It's easy to push shit back if it's just an arbitrary number, like you said. You know what I mean? Push your goals back if you're not on pace, whatever.
Well, what happens if someone says, I'm not strong enough, but I'm going to compete, in a couple of years? They're not going to compete.
Yeah. True.
Wait. You wait on anything, you're not going to do it.
Yeah, this is true. This is very
It's
true.
like with anything in life. It's like with business, too. If you just, push things off, it's not going to happen. So you have to kind of take the bull by the horns and have a strategy to everything you do. So that's, one thing as far as, business-wise. Recently, I've been trying to be much more strategic and plan things out. I plan out my days.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not planning things out, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
So I just discipline.
So is there anything in the sport of powerlifting that you'd like to see change? Is there anything that annoys you?
Yeah, what do you think we could change better for the sport?
I don't think people should be allowed to wear blue singlets, but no. I've seen too many bad things. Let's just keep the singlets black. Nobody needs to see what's going on. Blue singlets. No, I don't know. Honestly, off the top of my head, I wish, there was one major federation, so to speak, like there is with the IPF, but USPA is kind of overtaking things in the U.S. a little bit, as far as legitimate, how legitimate it is. So that's kind of the thing off the top of my head.
And it's true, yeah, because back in the day, so there's the IPF, but then for the untested, there used to be WPC, but it's not really, who is really the leading fed? Is
USPA.
Yeah.
USPA is the closest we have to USAPL, IPF, as far as how strict they are and how well they run their meets.
Yeah.
For a while, something that really bothered me was there were a lot of meets in the U.S. going on where they were using non-calibrated plates, just typical gym plates.
Yeah, shit.
And that really got to me because it's like if you deadlift, it's much easier to deadlift on gym plates than calibrated. So that was a problem. But that has been taken care of. I don't see any meets anymore without calibrated plates. So it's moving in the right direction, and it's moving more towards raw, and there's way more people competing. So I'm honestly pretty happy with the direction it's going.
Basically, standardization is what you need, right? So everybody, so then nobody's breaking a record or breaking hey, I broke Pete's record, but under what freaking pretense, man? You're using different bars, different plates, etc., right?
Yeah, I think we're going in the right direction, in all honesty. So off the top of my head, I don't have any complaints. The sport's going where it needs to go. Yeah, I just hope it continues to grow, because I don't know if there's ever going to be crazy money, but hopefully we can get to where the top guys are getting some form of compensation that's beyond just a little bonus, where it's actually helping them, and they could maybe full-time do this. I don't know. Hopefully someday, that's my vision. Mm-hmm. I'll be out of the sport by then as far as competing.
Well, I'll be dead by then.
I'm trying to help the guys moving forward who come along. So.
Yeah. So if you, looking back, when this is all over, how would you like to be remembered in the sport of powerlifting?
I guess really I just want to be known as someone who was consistent. They were at the top for a while. Like I talked about, I don't want to just be at the top for a year and then I'm gone. I want people to say he knows what he's talking about. His approach worked. The consistency and the injury prevention, the focus being on that, he was able to succeed and keep progressing for years and years. And I want to be at the top as far as those records, but I want to have done it in a manner where it's not I just came out of nowhere and hit them. Yeah. It's just see consistent progression, and that's what I did. That's what took me to the top. And then I applied those principles into my coaching and became a very well-respected authority in the powerlifting world. Yeah, when I go to seminars now, I feel 100% comfortable because I know what I'm talking about, and I love public speaking. So I just want to evolve my lifting more into my businesses, into business practices and seminars, help out others, introduce more people into the sport, which is why I push clients in that direction. Mm-hmm. So just those kind of things.
Mm-hmm. And then paying it forward and passing it on as a coach?
Essentially, because I won't be able to progress forever, obviously. It doesn't work that way. So at that point, I'll probably put more of my time into helping others genuinely, and that'll grow my business, and then everybody wins. So
do you think Do you see yourself being one of those guys who moves into the Masters even after your progression, starts sliding a little because of age, but you stay in the Masters? Or do you think once you start sliding, that's it, I'm good? Pete doesn't hang around just to be a master coach, you know?
I don't know. I'd probably keep doing this. You know, I don't ever see myself like stopping, but if I ever did, I mean, there would be something else to fill that void or whatever. Like, I have to have something that I'm really dedicated to. I can't just like not do something. So the only thing I could see is where like I may not be doing as many meets, and I may switch to like Masters at some point where when that time came, but I'd be like going even harder as far as everything else in my personal life or my business.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, there's always just got to be something. I can't sit on my hands.
Well, you're 25, man. You don't got to worry about that for a long ass time. That's something me and Randy got to worry about soon enough, but not you.
No. God willing, I stay injury free, but you just don't know. Like freak injuries, I've seen too many. It can happen. Guys' knees give out randomly and stuff. So
dudes come out of nowhere, like Larry. Dudes just come out of freaking nowhere with powerlifting.
Larry in the last year has made just insane progress. Like, it'll be interesting to see what he does in 2017 because it's just, I haven't seen anybody with that genetically gifted and with that much potential. Like, you don't see that. So he's almost like a new breed coming in here.
And he's bodied up. He looks like he could be on a freaking bodybuilding stage, you know, 24/7.
He legitimately could. Like, I think he could hold his own in an NPC competition as far as that. It's just, if he focused on bodybuilding, he would be a pro bodybuilder probably. Like, it's crazy. So I don't know, as long as he stays interested in this and like wants to keep going. I'd like to eventually be the guy though, where I'm like the freaking tortoise in the hare, and I'm slowly creeping on you, and like you got these records, Bobby. I'm coming. I'm in your rear view mirror. Then I take you up.
Well, here's the thing. There's that. My girlfriend was reading a book called 10,000 Hours. Okay, and it talks about how you master your sport after 10,000 hours, and they talked about, I think it was a pole vaulter or a hurdler, and this one person, freak athlete, and in 2 years entering the game, huge, like just jumped in there, went to the Olympics, the whole nine, and another guy who wasn't quite as genetically gifted, but he had put like 10,000 hours. So initially, the guy who jumped in 2 years, and made huge strides, jumped ahead. But the other guy's progression never slowed, even though like it was on a little bit not as high. It kept going where the other guys stopped, plateaued. So it's hard to call. You know what I mean? Like you can have a huge front runner that slows up.
That's exactly you nailed it. That's exactly my mindset and my approach. I'm not going to just come out of nowhere, add 100 pounds to my total and beat you like that. Like, I'm going to be chipping away 30, 40 pounds every, couple months, and then eventually I'm going to surpass you. That's how I look at it. That's 100% my game plan.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I try not to focus on all these guys. It's like, I know, I've already seen how many people I've kind of like surpassed, so it's like using this approach. So I just think of it like, just keep going slowly, doing your thing. You know what works for you.
It's surprising, isn't it, how like you can enter the game and certain dudes be up there, and you're like, shit, if I could be as strong as that someday. Years go by, you move past certain people, and you're like, holy shit. When you look back 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, it's like, wowzers, man.
Yeah, I'm not going to name names, but I've had those moments as far as people who were like seemingly so far ahead of me, I couldn't even fathom it. Yeah. And now I'm like, damn, I just passed, just using that approach. So
yeah,
it's just, I'm so adamant about like, be consistent.
Yeah.
And don't get injured.
Yeah, consistency is it.
Injury.
With everything in life, man, consistency is going to win it over. Business, sports, the guy who keeps his head down, focuses on his own shit, and hits it consistently, you'd be surprised. Just put your time in is the biggest thing. 10,000 hours, right?
Exactly. Like a lot of people, that's why I say just step in, do a meet, get your feet wet. Don't be afraid, because that's the first step. Then you're just going to keep going from there. It's all about building positive momentum.
Yeah.
One success leads to the next success. So it's like, if you don't start, you're never going to get to that point. Just start now. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah, well, you see
That's the biggest thing in life. We don't have anything to lose. I've learned this. It's like you're gonna fail a million times at everything you do. Relationships, business, lifting. You're gonna have those moments, but it's like we all do. Just freaking go for it.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people right now. They don't want to compete because everybody wants to be the best. They don't even. They think walking into the competition they're going to be number one when they should, like you said, get their feet wet, start off, see where they're at, and then figure out what's going wrong, what's going right.
There's the good and the bad with social media. I think sometimes social media, you look and think, "Holy shit, I can't beat this guy. I can't beat that guy. I'm gonna wait until my numbers get up there." It's like, dude, sometimes these guys show up and their numbers aren't even what they're pulling in the gym either. Like, just relax. Like you said, do your own thing and don't focus too much on someone else. You'll freak yourself out and never show up. You know?
Exactly. That's 100%. You guys nailed it. That's how I think.
Yeah.
Like, just do it. Like, right away, obviously, you're not going to be focused on beating people, but, like, that day will come if you stick with it.
Yeah, and after 3 years pass by, you're like, holy shit, okay, I'm actually passing by some of these guys.
Well, you'll get some of those people that jump in and just rock and roll, and like Larry. Like
not everyone can be Larry Wheels.
Not everybody can be him. And then you got guys like one of our go-tos is David Riggs, 57 cracking numbers, you know. So like, I mean, like that's one of those things. Like, still go Masters 2, and he's breaking open records. So it's kind of neat with some
Pace
of this
yourself.
stuff.
You never know. Yeah, you just got to start this journey. Don't try to see too far ahead.
But the one thing with this right now is so interesting is how many, like the sport is blown up, how many juniors are coming out of nowhere, like these young athletes.
Back in the day, back in the day, a guy who's 19, 20, 21 wasn't going to be whooping a 30-year-old's ass. But now, we don't even blink. We don't even blink if a guy's 21. It's like, I see that.
That's another thing it's easy to get lost in that with social media. There's always someone coming out of the woodwork, so you feel like crap, you know, you're like, dang, this guy's a genetic freak coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You can't focus on that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm going to be honest, man, I don't go on social media. Like, I go on to post something up, and that's it, man. I'm not looking at everybody else's shit. Like, it doesn't help you, and it's a massive waste of time, frankly. So it's
That's the truth. That's the truth.
Like, it's just not going to help you. Don't paralysis by overanalysis, you know.
That's true.
Do your thing and just
focus on
dudes.
You do you. It's all good, man. Is there any other questions? Is there anything you want to throw out there? Is there anything we haven't touched up on?
What's that?
Is there anything we hadn't touched up on that you want to throw out there? Any stories or anything like that? Or we covered it all pretty good?
There'd be one fun subject to talk about, but I can't really talk about it too much.
Whoa, what's that? It sounds good.
Just as far as like in the sport, people taking supplements.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. I think a lot of guys come out of the woodwork too because they just go so hard with that, and then they're like, you know, obviously they make great gains, but that doesn't last forever either.
You know, we talked, and we've talked to that, because we talk not just IPF, but different federations as well. And some people speaking candidly, being like, man, if you don't know what you're doing in terms of taking, whether it's whatever kind of gear you're taking, it's nothing to play with. You know, you need, like, proper advice even on that. Because a lot of guys, they think, not knowing no better, more is better. That's all out. Go nuts. And you're going to be the next Larry Wheels because you're on gear. No, man. You won't be Larry Wheels because you're on gear, you know?
And when you're like, you know, 20 years old, 21, like, it's easy to have that mindset. Because at that age, you know, you're not looking to the future. You're just like, you want everything here and now. So even I fell into that trap. But what you'll find is you won't make the progress you wanted to make. And then you're like, crap, what do I do now? Yeah. So that's where it goes back to, like, get your form right and all the stupid stuff that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Hear it, but it's like nobody wants to hear that if you just stay consistent for 10 years, you'll be awesome. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah. Everybody wants right now, in like, give me a 16-week program and turn me into the next champ.
Yeah, it's just, I've had that mindset many times. And even sometimes now I have to, like, step back and be like, whoa, slow down, you know. But it's easy to do, especially when you're like that at that age, you know. You're just starting out. Very easy to fall into that. So it's almost one of those things, it's okay to, like, go through that phase and make those mistakes and then learn from them.
Yeah.
Because it happens to everybody.
Yeah, and that's exactly, I mean, that's what pretty much everyone we've interviewed has said is, man, look at the end game, you know, put in your time, pay your dues, and there is no magic pill. People think this shit is going to make me the next whatever. It's not. It's not. You know, there is nothing that substitutes hard work and putting in your time.
Yeah, because even people who start on things, what happens is the first year they make great, consistent progress. And then they'll get to about a year in and they hit a major wall. I've seen it happen. So it's like you got to kind of figure everything else out. And something that helps me is I don't obsess over my numbers or what I have to do in the gym when I'm not in the gym. I'm going about my everyday life. I'm not like freaking out about what I got to hit or what I want to hit or what somebody else is hitting. I'm just going about my life, and then I'm not putting all this pressure on myself where it's like life and death. Yeah. So that helps me because I used to do that, and it's a very unhealthy mindset that won't produce success.
I like the way you look at shit, man. Yeah. You do like speaking in terms of the mental side in your seminars as well? Is that a pretty big aspect as well? How to approach it?
I haven't touched on it a lot as far as seminars.
Man. You're pretty good the way you look at it.
Well, it's something I've like put a lot more time into recently because just with everyday life, I'm trying to live more balanced with everything. You know, we can't. Something I did for a while was I put all my focus on lifting and hitting PRs and succeeding in that. And as far as what people were saying about me, and that's where all my value came from, and it makes your lifting worse. Like you feel like crap because you're not balanced. So it's just. When you get everything else kind of figured out, and I'm still working on it, I think that's when your lifting goes better. When you're not even like focusing on it. Yeah. So it's just, I think it's part of growing up, because I'm way different than I was at 22, and even like every 6 months, you know, you completely change. So I think part of just everybody's got to like go through that. Everybody's got to make those mistakes. That's how I learned. I screwed up a hell of a lot of stuff. So
that's it.
That's the best way to learn.
Yeah. This is true.
So is there anyone you want to give a shout out to? Anything like that? Your sponsors anything like that you want to talk about?
Any sponsors you want to plug?
I'll just give a shout out to Animal, obviously, because I've been working with them for 3 years. That's pretty much my only sponsor here. And we'll just give a shout out to my girlfriend Kelly for putting up with me. And that's main people who come to mind. So
there we go, man. Well, thank you very much for this interview, dude. You're well spoken, and we love to have you back. And good luck on your competition too.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Hopefully that goes well. So
yeah, man. Knock on wood. We'll keep in touch, man.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Have a good one. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yep. I'll see you.
Like, man, he's a well-spoken cat. You never know, like, when you see dudes in the videos and they're all hype and running in there, like, you actually sit down and talk to somebody.
Yeah, when you see his social media and stuff like that, I mean, that's what people see, and you see the hype, you see the energy this guy has and what he's doing. I mean, he's an animal in there.
Yeah.
And then he comes on here.
Pun with the animal.
the animal. But I mean, it was interesting to talk to. It was refreshing. It was something different. Like, he has a totally different outlook.
You wouldn't have expected that from him.
2 days a week? Not a chance.
There's another thing. 2 days a week. Holy shit!
Like, he posts a video every day, so he must be breaking up his. You know what I mean? Like,
for real. Yeah.
That's interesting. That, you know, and
this mental prep I do like is how he approaches in terms of, because I know from personally, like, you can get obsessed with it, thinking about shit and telling yourself, like, it's absolutely true. For anyone who's watching, don't get too obsessed with what other people are doing. Don't look at other people's social media too much. It's okay to get like Kimberly Walfer was saying, a barometer when you're walking in there to somewhat game plan, but for your day-to-day life all year round, it would be unhealthy.
And it explains how he can smash such big numbers all the time.
When you're in your own world, it's almost like you don't know.
But taking 2 days off, 3 days off between lifts, you know what I mean? Like, that would be huge. Like, you're coming in feeling great.
Isn't it crazy how, like, enough high-level guys you talk to, they have so many different ways of approaching,
but all working.
It's interesting. And obvious numbers don't lie.
But I think they've just found their groove. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's for them. Like,
it just goes to show you that, like, there is no right and wrong. You throw that right out. Someone who's like, that's stupid. it'll work for some guys. Like if you would have told me before that, I'd be like, there's no way that'd work. Well, it does.
Yeah.
And there's no way I try to talk him out of it because it's freaking working. So
well, what's interesting is we talked to all the tops in the world, and we're seeing each one has a different one, but they're the top because they figured out what works best for them.
Yeah.
You know, that's interesting.
And usually you put in time. Like he was saying, it took him a while to find this, and since he found it, in the last year or so, he's made a stride. So
but
pay your dues.
steady progression. You know,
he
just keeps moving.
No, Isabella said she's hit it like dust in the wind, took off, like whew.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen every time.
No, not at all. Yeah, it was interesting to hear, and I mean, I like what he did too with what he's teaching to his people is that he's not just looking to help them get better, but he's letting them know, you know, it's okay if you're injured, take the day off. Like I don't need you to go in and squat something.
Which is another thing that's crazy because I'm glad we talked to some of these guys. You watch their social media, you don't know if they would come off like you would think. Oh man, I'd be afraid to tell this guy my sad story. Yeah, because he'd be like, "Shut up, suck it up." But he would actually be like, "Dude, then don't do it. Take the day off." You know what I mean? Like it's good to break down some.
But they're not looking just to post somebody else's lifts and say, "Look, I coached this guy into doing a 200-pound PR," even though they broke the guy's back and pulled his hand. You know?
It's the end result. It's the journey. Yeah. And it is true, though. I 100% agree. I know, like, if you sign up for something and there's a date, it's for real. Yeah. You're gonna hustle a little hard because if you get closer to the date, there's no way someone can talk you out of just take the day off or whatever. You're cutting, whatever. But if you don't have a date, it's easier. Like I know with myself, it's easier just to be like
laxy daisy.
A little bit.
Yeah.
You know, a little bit.
You can back off a little bit because you don't have that push.
Something in life could come up, and that'll be an excuse. If you got a date coming, something in life comes up. You're just going to manage it and figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, no, I got to figure this out somehow. I got to pull it through.
You're going to push.
Yeah, you're going to push. You're going to grind. Yeah. Which is true. Yeah, man, I liked his mental aspect of how he approached the game. Seemed healthy. Because that's the one thing about powerlifting, man. Because it's numbers, you can get an unhealthy obsession with numbers. And that's the big thing. Relax a little bit. Fall back. This isn't life. This isn't you. This isn't everything.
You know what else I found funny is that we've talked to a fair amount of people now, and nobody trash talks another person. You know what I mean? Like there has been no trash talking in this at all about that person doing this, that person doing that. That's true too. Like that's kind of interesting because we asked him who's out there, and I mean even him. He was talking about Larry Williams, nothing but respect.
Yeah, you know, didn't Mike call someone out, Malik?
Oh yeah, Malik.
Yeah, but like nice.
But he was calling him out just because it's his competition. He called him out saying he's my competition. Yeah. You know, that's what he's.
It was a tip of the hat, shine of respect. Call yeah. I know what you mean. Yeah, okay, he's a character.
And the Vanilla Gorilla, he called out the Russian for that.
Yeah. He wasn't afraid. He called him out, and he said, "Yeah, he's my rival."
Yeah,
which is good. This is the Brett Gibbs, John Hack situation. It's always good to, like, know. Everyone knows it's not like a trash talking situation. It's more, this is the one guy who I have to face. This is the guy I got to beat. You know, everybody needs some kind of motivation. When your head hits the pillow, you could say, "No, I don't think of anybody else." In this day and age of social media, yeah, you do.
But he also said something else is organized in your life. Like that's the thing. Like him keeping everything organized, it makes lifting a lot easier.
Yeah. Don't get too preoccupied. There's other aspects of life. Don't be that guy that all you think about.
Well, he's got the coaching, he's got everything else, and if it's just everything's running in shambles, and that's what you're going to be, is shambles. You know, that organization, he's coming in with a plan every day, which is, you can see it.
Mm-hmm. Good interview, man.
Yeah, another one bites the dust.
We'll keep it moving. Come back for the next one.